Yeah, so another story about the endless indoctrination of our children. It's so grotesque. It's been going on for a very long time. It's something that I've been exposing for a long time. But now we're getting some data on the fruit of all this brainwashing, of all this terrorizing of our children. Now, there's a new survey out of the UK. This was commissioned by an eco grocery company, so they may have some bias issues there. But they find that more than 7 in 10 children are worried about climate change and environmental issues. And of course, you knew it, right? They say that this proves we need more education on climate change in the schools to teach children how to deal with climate change. Of course, it's totally ridiculous. When they drilled down a little further in these kids, the biggest concern of them was the impact that this climate change would have on animals. Yeah, 1/4 of these terrorized children said that was their top concern. That was the top ranking concern. Not about what it's going to do to humans. I mean, assuming you believe this climate change narrative. Of course, climate has always changed. Fortunately, now thanks to industrialization, technology, material wealth, those disasters from the climate that have always been with us are now pretty much harmless compared to how they used to be. But what they found is that children were most worried about the effect of climate change on animals, not their fellow human beings, but animals. Other concerns they had were plastic pollution, rising temperatures, things like that. And they actually asked these children, who's your primary inspiration? Who do you look to for education on global warming? And about half said this BBC population control nut, David Attenborough. His big thing is we need less people. He works for, or worked for at least, the British government's propaganda machine known as the BBC. The the other one that a lot of children pointed to, 1/3 of them said their schools and their teachers were their primary inspiration. Less than 1/4 of children said their families or their parents. So it tells you, right? Parents are being replaced, they're being sidelined. British government propaganda and also the government brainwash camps masquerading as schools are taking over where parents used to hold that place. Now, the company did say that because of these results, we need more education on global warming. Here's what the CEO of this company, Simon Mellon, said. He said, the results show that environmental challenges are having a prominent effect on the children of today, proving that it's never been more important to educate communities on the actions they can take to protect our planet, right? So they need more of this brainwashing, not less, right? And frankly, I don't think you need to be terrorizing children. It's simply crazy. And the same thing is happening in the United States, by the way. We've exposed here on the Newman Report many times the next generation pseudoscience standards, I call them. It's the same people that brought you the Common Core abomination. And if you read these pseudoscience standards, what you'll find is that in 12 years of so-called education, these poor children will never hear the term scientific method if their teachers follow the standards. What they will hear over and over and over again is man-made global warming. It's all your fault. Give taxes to the UN, and that will save us. And in fact, the National Center for Science Education revealed back in 2016 that 3 out of 4 science teachers in American government schools teach climate change as well. So these new results, they go along with another study that was released this summer. It was showing, it was a peer-reviewed study, actually, this one that I'm talking about, and it showed that children are experiencing something that they described in the study as eco-anxiety, characterized by, I'm quoting here, negative emotions like anger, sadness, guilt, and hopelessness. Yeah, that's what our children are feeling because this is what they're being taught to feel, and it's very scientific and it's very deliberate. That goes along with the COVID terror, right? You're going to kill your grandma if you don't put on 8 masks, if you don't take a bunch of vaccines, if you don't stay home to stop the spread, if you don't do school through a computer. You're going to kill grandma. You're going to die yourself, and it's going to be horrible. COVID's going to kill you. Or the school shootings, right? Just like they used to do the duck and cover for the kids back during the Cold War to terrorize everybody into that. Now they say duck and cover from gunmen who might burst in, right? And so this is just a constant terrorizing of our children, folks. And there's a reason why they're doing this, right? It's not happening in a vacuum. Adolf Hitler's right-hand man, Hermann Goering, was asked after the war about this issue, and he was quoted in a book by an American expert who interviewed him. And here's what the expert quoted the guy as saying: all you have to do is tell them they're being attacked and denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism and exposing the country to danger. So you have to scare people. You have to tell them that there is a threat that threatens them, and that the people who are not with you are bad and that they need to be dealt with. So that's what they're doing with the climate change, right? There's this big threat. The climate deniers, your parents, they are the ones who caused this threat. They're not helping to fight this threat, and so we now need to do this for you. And that's I think part of the reason why a former senior climate scientist, Dr. Roy Spencer of NASA, He referred to these climate alarmists as global warming Nazis. Folks, it is time to protect your children from this, right? And they terrorize them, and then they say, well, don't worry, we're going to do mindfulness, and we're going to do social emotional learning, and that's going to fix this terror that they're experiencing. Garbage. Blasphemy, ridiculous, folks. This is totally crazy. The only way to protect our children from this terror is for parents to do the protecting. The schools won't do it. The politicians won't do it. It's time for parents to protect their kids from this.